How to write text-dependent analysis for informational texts. This lesson will use Strength in Numbers by BirdBrain Science to model how to write a TDA for an informational or expository text. Today's prompt. In Strength in Numbers, the author states, "It is very helpful to find out how a living thing fits into the world." Write an essay analyzing how the author uses the text structure to develop the idea of fitting in. Use evidence from the passage to support your answer. Like the narrative prompt, the informational prompt also has two component elements, the text structure and the idea of fitting in. The student's essay must describe both elements and discuss the interrelationships between the two, and then draw conclusions based on these ideas. It looks like this. The work begins with a close reading of the text. The purpose for this first read is to get an understanding of the meaning of the text. What's the gist? Before reading, glance at the bolded words. The author thinks these words are important to support the understanding of the text. Look for subheadings. They usually identify supporting big ideas. Examine any graphic elements, charts, photographs, maps, etc. As you read, stop at the end of each paragraph. Write down a word or phrase to summarize what you read in that paragraph. Make a chart in your notebook and gather all the phrases you've written down. Share the words and phrases your students wrote down to summarize each paragraph. Examine the bolded words. Discuss the vocabulary and meaning. Create class definitions of important terms. All of these help understand the what of the text. Now you'll read the text a second time. The purpose for this read is to clarify the organizational structure used by the author. How is the topic introduced? How are the ideas organized? Are there sequencing and transition words organizing the text? What's the tone? It's important to remember that text structure is one of the elements in your essay. Focus on how the text structure is used to organize the idea of fitting in. The student must step back and take a metacognitive approach while reading. Now you'll read the text for a third time. The purpose of this read is to determine why the author wrote this text. Why did the author choose this thinking strategy? Why did the author choose this tone? What conclusions can be based on the ideas you identified after the second read? Begin by rereading the prompt. Write an essay analyzing how the author uses the text structure to develop the idea of fitting in. So, how are text structure and fitting in interrelated? The informational TDA can be organized in the same fashion as the narrative TDA. The essay is a series of 3 beats increasing in intellectual rhythm. The first beat presents a summary of what the author said in the text. The second beat explains how the author organized the text and presented the information, the text structure. The third beat will present conclusions explaining why the author chose this topic and thinking strategy. The first intellectual beat is usually an abbreviated retelling from the text, highlighting the elements you'll discuss. Take this information from your first read notes. This is where you'll describe what fitting in is. Here's an example of what you could have written. The next beat of the essay examines how the author writes. Take this information from your second read notes. The student writer steps outside of the story and comments on how the author uses the conventions of writing informational text. This beat will get the most sentences in your essay because it's where you'll find the most interrelationships. The last intellectual beat of the essay examines why the author chose this thinking strategy. What conclusions can you make about the subject, the purpose, and tone of the text? The word revise means to look at again. Reread your essay multiple times, each with a different purpose. For the first read, is your essay focused? Do all three beats discuss text structure and fitting in, the two elements from the writing prompt? Does the writing clarify their interrelationships? Does the essay draw conclusions? A second read. Does the essay clarify the purpose of the text and graphic elements? Does the essay explore the subject, purpose, and tone of the essay? For the final read, look for writing conventions. Are the rules of standard writing conventions followed? Are words spelled correctly? Good job!